against what the United States is doing.
Joining me now to discuss our New York immigration lawyer, Alena Shautsova, and former ICE agent Victor Avila. Welcome to both of you. Alena, I will start with you. As you just heard, lawyers for Khalil plan to fight his deportation in court. How do you see this playing out?
Well, I believe there will be several very important issues that the courts will have to answer. For example, to what degree the authority of the Secretary of State supersedes potentially First Amendment rights of non-citizens. Because we all know that non-citizens enjoy lesser First Amendment rights than United States citizens. And also, what burden the Secretary of State must meet in order for his determination to be regarded as reasonable grounds for someone's deportation out of the United States. So those are very important issues. They have not been answered yet by the United States Supreme Court fully. We do have a decision from 1945 where the United States Supreme Court stated that alien residents, which is green card holders, do enjoy the First Amendment rights to free speech. But since then, a lot of things happened and a lot of different laws passed. For example, 2001 U.S. Patriot Act. And of course, that would be taken into consideration by the courts as they're going to rule on these absolutely important issues for everyone in this country, including citizens.
Victor, you were an ICE agent under both presidents, Bush 43 and Obama. How does what's happening under the Trump administration compare to how immigration was handled back then?
Very, very different because the attorney's correct here. There has been additional bureaucracies and administrative paperwork and policies implemented from the last several presidents. So it has made the process a lot more cumbersome and difficult. But the bottom line here is the individual has to abide by the rules and conditions given to them by these permits. When you don't abide by them, then you're subject to removal. And they were complaining about not getting the due process. Well, they got the due process. The immigration judge made his order, and he's now ordered deported. Now they're complaining about how they got that due process. So I know they're going to try to fight this, but I think this individual is going to have to be fighting it from his country. Here's the difference. We want the burden to be placed back on the country of citizenship of these individuals, no longer on the U.S. government. Let their government decide what they want to do with them, sanctions, jail, nothing, whatever they want to do, because the responsibility should lie on them. They're now illegally present here and shouldn't be in the country.
I spoke with President Obama's former ICE director on Morning in America about this very case. Here's what she had to say.
I think it's really a legitimate question is, are the immigration courts, who already have a tremendous burden in a backlog that has been amassing for years since I was director in 2014 up through when I left in 2017, are there concerns on the part of the immigration judges that they may be subject to be fired because they fail to abide by the administration's position?
Yeah, again, a former ICE commissioner. Alena, how real is the threat of judges being fired over a case like Mahmoud Khalil's?
I believe it's a real concern. In the past couple of months, we saw that the prosecutors were fired and the judges were threatened with impeachment. So obviously, I would not dismiss that as a valid concern, and it's really threatens the independent courts, and it's something that I believe the Federal Association of Judges really are prepared to take upon this very important issue of judicial independence. So it's not off the table that certain decisions will be tailored out of fear of losing the job, pensions, and security.
Victor, switching gears a bit here, in 2011, you survived an ambush in Mexico by the cartel. Because of that experience, I want to ask how necessary these new border measures are.
Well, obviously, it's very personal to me. To me, it comes down to law and order. I just want to follow the law, which I did in my career. I want to follow the U.S. Constitution. And as a matter of fact, a lot of these laws that we're talking about have been in the books. They're right behind me here in my office. And it's the interpretation, obviously, of those laws, especially in the last several years, that have gone off the handle. I think what President Trump is trying to do here is just go back to basics and following the legislatively passed laws that have been in the books a long time. And I know there's been confusion and there has been a lot of policy, not necessarily a legislatively changed process here, a lot of policy that muddies the conversation. And I think that we need to really clear it up, because we have to think about one thing, and that's about public safety and the intentions, the real intentions of why people come into this country in the first place.
New York immigration lawyer Alena Shautsova and former ICE agent Victor Avila, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.